Yeah, good evening all. Right, myself, I'm Vijay. Like I hold 20 plus years of experience in training different technologies like big data, Hadoop, Spark with Python, Azure data engineering, right? Yes. So before I start, can anyone please confirm whether my voice is clear, whether the screen is visible or not? Yes.
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 Fine.
Valuable.
As part of today's demo, just I'll be covering the following things, right? Why Azure data engineer? Why data engineer first? You go back like 15 to 20 years, there is no data engineer concept. What is why data engineer? How it is different from the traditional ETL developer? Role of a data engineer and a difference between the data engineer, data scientist, and data analyst. Azure data engineer products or services. Azure data engineer products or services, right? Job market of Azure data engineering. Yes. So this is what I'll be discussing. So before I go, right, we are going to discuss with using a cloud like Azure cloud, right? Yes. So first, cloud is majorly utilized for storing, analyzing, and delivering data in various form. So I want to say differentiating between this on-premises. What is the advantage to go to cloud as compared with on-premises, right? In case if you go with on-premise, we need to set up our own hardware infrastructure. We need to set up our own hardware infrastructure. See this even whatever this data engineering, like even like Spark, PySpark, if you're running on this on-premises, we need to maintain a cluster. Physically, all the systems are interconnected. We need to install the softwares, and we need in each and every system, we need to do everything manually. So here, in the case of on-premises, I was saying the same. We need to set up your own hardware infrastructure on top of that OS installation and purchasing of database license, installation of database server, and designing database objects. To maintain all this, again, we require separate teams are required for this. Like hardware team is required, operating system team is required, networking team is required, security team is required, database administrators are required. But here, everything in the cloud premises, we no need to maintain all this. We no need to maintain any infrastructure. No need of any licenses. Here, everything in the cloud environment, right? Everything in the cloud environment, no need to maintain all this. So data engineers, right, with the help of this cloud services, they work on the data and make it structured and useful. Data engineers mainly responsible for smooth data flow. They're responsible for smooth data flow from source to destination. Data engineer responsible for preparing the data, cleansing the data, transforming the data, and processing the data. So data engineer is responsible in preparing, cleansing the data, transforming the data, and processing the data. One second. Yes. Data scientist, data analyst, and data engineer. The difference between this in a single word, data scientist strategizes for the future, recommendations for the future. Analyst summarizes the past, visualizing the data of the past. So here, data scientist is going to analyze the data, is going to identify the key patterns, and is going to perform recommendations for the future. So data scientist performs data analysis, data predictions, data classifications, data clustering, data recommendation. So here data has got experience, data has got future reference using data, right? They're going to perform data analysis, data predictions, data classifications, clusterings, and recommendations. Similarly, here also data analyst dealing with the data of the past, summarize the data of the past, visualizing the data. Data engineer does all the groundwork. Data engineer is going to does all the groundwork for this data scientist and analyst. Around 70 to 80% of the data analysis work is done by data engineers. Data engineers, data management and data processing. That is storage and processing. Data engineering involves what are the sources of the data, from where they need to bring the data from where they need to pull the data. What is the format of the data? In what format we need to bring? How to transform or process the data as per the business logic, transforming or processing the data. And finally, what is the destination of the data? Yes. Okay, now check it. Now coming to this, why Azure Data Engineer? Why Azure Data Engineer? Why Azure Data Engineer in demand? Why the Azure Data Engineer is in demand today? See, previously, if we talk about that ETL developer as compared with this data engineer, here data engineer is need to deal with the different types of data. Structured data, semi-structured data, unstructured data, NoSQL data, streaming data. He need to handle all this. Previously, if we talk about ETL, that most of the time the data is in structured format. But now here he need to play with the data. He need to handle semi-structured XML data, JSON data, Parquet data, any files, right? And also like streaming kind of data, NoSQL like data. NoSQL means schemaless behavior, not only SQL, SQL and NoSQL, not only SQL. In the case of SQL, first record to last record, same number of records, fields has to be maintained. Fields, columns has to be maintained. Case of NoSQL, a record to record different number of fields can be maintained. See, and if you talk about why Azure Data Engineer is in demand today, if you talk, check with this, just a second. Yes. Okay. To talk about an organization, an organization, it wants to increase the business revenue. It wants to increase the business revenue by utilizing the customer behavioral data on its website. So the organization using Azure for its operation, it is using Azure for its operation. So it is going to hire two. It hires two people. One is data scientist, is data scientist, and Azure data engineer, means data engineer, a data engineer, right? So organization, right? Hiring two people, data engineer and data scientist. What is the primary task of a data engineer? I'll come back to this data scientist, but data engineer, first the data engineer, he is going to create a data warehouse. He is going to create a data warehouse for its organization. A data warehouse, what do you mean by data warehouse? A data warehouse is a storage of structured and queryable data. It contains data from various sources, such as new user logs, existing customer data, clicks. So data engineer is going to structure all this data and stores it and monitors it into this warehouse. Data engineer making the data and structures the data, stores it, monitors it so that it can be queried. Secondly, data engineer is going to communicate with the data scientist. He has to communicate with the data scientist to understand the data requirement. To understand the data requirement. He also communicates. This data engineer also communicates with the business team. He communicates with the data scientist to understand the data requirement, also communicates with the business team to understand the business requirements of the organization. So the data engineer has to keep in mind the business needs while dealing with the data in the hand, right? He need to, yes. So later the data scientists, they'll be analyzing and they'll be creating some insights from the processed data of data engineer. So this data engineer, they are going to create some pipelines, creating some pipelines. So I was saying data scientist creating some insights and from that whatever data which is being processed by data engineer, and they require some and the business team requires some dashboard tools for that for the visualization of the key insight. Data engineers keep constantly processing, analyzing, and monitoring the data. They keep on processing, analyzing, and monitoring the data. I said they'll be creating data pipelines through which the data will be integrated with all the crucial stages of the data flow. He also makes sure, data engineer also makes sure that the pipeline is always efficient and is secured without any data leaks or data exposure. Excuse me. This is the primary role of data engineer, right? Creating data warehouse, creating data pipelines, and maintaining security of the data. And if you see one by one, the role of Azure data engineer. Role of Azure data engineer. First one, designing the entire data flow architecture. Secondly, the main task, creating a data warehouse. Creating a data warehouse for storage of analytical data. One more major task, ETL, extract, transform, and load. Extract, transform, load. That is the main task. ETL is one of the key tasks or main task of data engineers. They need to keep extracting data from multiple sources, transform it into structured and queryable form, and then load it into the company's storage service for the further business evaluation by the data scientists. And also the other steps involves like data monitoring, data monitoring. Data engineers make sure that ETL is performed in a proper way and data is available anywhere and everywhere it is required. And also data security. Data security. Data security also, right? It is one of the major responsibility of data engineers. They need to secure the data at each step of the process without any data leaks or data exposures, I said. And also I said data engineers keep on collaborating and communicating, right? Collaboration and communication. Collaboration and communication, right? Yeah. They have to constantly communicate with the business team to check if the team requires some data insights, and also collaborating with the data scientist in delivering the data as per their needs or as per their requirement. And deployment. Deployment. If the business team requires data on a certain, for example, on a certain platform in a structured manner to understand the insights, understanding the logs, reports, etc., right? If data scientist or analyst requires the data delivered to them on a particular platform, data engineers have to deploy and maintain such a platform. Right. Analytics. And data engineers analyzing the data, transforming it into structured and useful format. They need to have some strong analytical skills to perform this analysis. And automation. So, automating certain processes which require minimal human intervention, such as extraction process. So, the majorly like key role of data engineer, creating data warehouse, ETL performing extracting, transforming, and load, data monitoring, making sure the data is available at each step of the process, data security without any data leaks, communicating with the data scientist and the business team, deployment as the data as per their requirement, analytics, they need to have strong analytical skills to perform this kind of analysis. Certain things need to be automated, right? Yes. So these are the role of Azure data engineer. What are the tasks of the Azure data engineer? And if I talk about one by one Azure data engineering products or services, Azure data engineering products or services. So we have got like Azure Data Lake, sorry, Azure SQL, Azure Data Lake. In a simple way, Azure SQL for storing data in the form of tables for OLTP operations, Azure Data Lake, in a simple way, storing data in the form of files, distributed file system, Azure Synapse Analytics for data warehouse operations, and for analytics. Azure Data Factory, Azure Data Bricks, Azure Cosmos DB, Azure Streaming, Azure Key Vault. Yes. So just within, I'll just give an overview about all this with a single line, just a single word, single line, right? What are this? Talk like one by one. In a simple way, what is Azure SQL? It is a cloud or DBMS. It is a cloud or DBMS. It's a cloud or DBMS database of Microsoft in Azure. It is a cloud or DBMS database of Microsoft in Azure. It is for OLTP operations. It is for OLTP operations. OLTP system captures end user transactions. It is not for data warehouse. Next, like Azure Data Lake. Azure Data Lake, storing data in the form of tables, Azure SQL, Azure Data Lake in file system, right? Some distributed file system with unlimited data storage. Some distributed file system with unlimited data storage. In cloud. Distributed file system with unlimited data storage. That is Azure Data Lake storage. We say it ADLS. Azure Data Lake Storage, distributed file system with unlimited data storage in cloud. I can say it is a repository. It is a repository. Large varieties of structured, semi-structured, and unstructured data. And unstructured. It is a repository of large varieties of structured, semi-structured, and unstructured data. Azure Data Factory. Azure Data Factory, ADF. In a simple way, it is a cloud. I can say it is a cloud ETL or cloud-based ETL, right? Yes. In a simple way, it's a cloud ETL or cloud-based ETL of Microsoft in Azure. It is a cloud-based ETL, just like Informatica, which is for on-premise. Same way in cloud premise, right? We have cloud-based ETL of Microsoft in Azure cloud. Same way, like Informatica, we have got a ETL in cloud. That is nothing but Azure Data Factory. Zero coding is involved. In Informatica, 80% drag and drop, 20% I will write SQL scripts. But here 100% drag and drop, zero coding ETL tool, Azure Data Factory. No prerequisites, right? No coding, code free. Azure Synapse Analytics. This is for data warehouse operations. For data warehouse operations. For big data operations. For big data operations. For analytics. For batch processing. For batch processing. For parallel processing. So here for batch processing, batch applications, millions and trillions of records. For a single record, it's not for online processing. If you give a request, immediately giving response, that is not that architecture. Batch applications, millions and trillions of records in. And one more important component like Azure Databricks. Azure Databricks ADB. Azure Databricks, right? Yes. It is a Apache Spark based data analytics platform. It is Apache Spark based data analytics platform. Apache Spark. What is Apache Spark? Is Apache Spark is a high speed. It is a high speed processing execution model. The processing execution model which process huge data at quick time. Apache Spark is a very high speed. It's a very high speed processing execution model which process huge data at quick time. Azure streaming. Analyzing and processing high volumes of streaming data, high values of streaming data from multiple sources. Simultaneously. Analyzing and processing high volumes of streaming data from multiple sources simultaneously. What do you mean by streaming data? Data which keeps on generating, data which keeps on incrementing. Such data we call as streaming data from multiple sources that to simultaneously will be able to capture it. Azure Cosmos DB. Azure Cosmos DB. Azure Cloud, simple way. Azure Cosmos DB, just like MongoDB, we have got Cosmos DB. Azure Cloud based. Azure Cloud based, NoSQL database. What is that? NoSQL database. Azure Cloud based NoSQL database. What is a NoSQL means? Not only SQL, schemaless behavior, random access. Schemaless in the sense record to record different number of fields can be maintained. Key Vault. Next is Azure Key Vault. Secure key management is essential. Secure key management is essential, right? Secure key management is essential to protect data in the cloud. Secure key management is essential to protect data in the cloud. Okay, so these are the main data engineering products and services. Yes. So as part of the course, my main discussion, so as Azure data engineer course, right? Yes. AD, mainly we'll be discussing the first Azure Data Factory. Everything drag and drop, no coding involved, no prerequisites, zero coding, right? As ADF. And here, Azure Databricks, ADB. and here. And here total PySpark will be covered. PySpark I'll be discussing. PySpark. Sorry. Yes. 1 second. See, Azure Data Factory, Azure Databricks, PySpark, everything in brief, it is going to be covered. So in this PySpark, right, PySpark has got, see, in this Azure Data Engineering, the main execution, in general, main execution weapon is PySpark. In all this Azure Data Factory, Azure Databricks, Azure Synapse, everything, the main processing execution happens with PySpark has got many modules like PySpark core program, PySpark SQL, PySpark MLlib, machine learning library, Spark MLlib, we say Spark SQL, Spark core, Spark SQL, Spark MLlib, Spark GraphX. Just now someone was asking, right? Spark has got those things. Yes. So yes, Satyaprakash, right? You were asking, right? The Spark has become very powerful by introducing these libraries like ML machine learning libraries there, graphics libraries there, and for streaming, for SQL, it has provided powerful libraries. In combination of Python and Spark, already like Python has got many thousands of modules, right? Right, for machine learning for this data science environment. So that's why Spark implemented using Python. So Python and Spark combinedly there is given by Apache Software Foundation. So this PySpark in brief we'll be discussing, and also like Azure streaming, sorry, Azure Synapse Analytics. So these things I'll be discussing in brief. These things will be discussed in brief. Yes. Azure Data Factory, Azure Databricks, PySpark, and Azure Synapse Analytics in brief. Apart from this, you'll be also getting knowledge about Azure SQL. So means as a ADF developer, as a Databricks developer, as a PySpark developer, or this Synapse, right? You'll be interacting with this Azure SQL, Azure Data Lake, Azure Data Lake storage, Azure Data Lake storage. We say like ADLS. Mhm. Azure streaming. So these things will be discussed mainly. These are the main topics we'll be discussing in brief, and this also will be getting knowledge on this. So yes, the duration will be around 3.5 months, right? Yes, around 3.5 months we'll be discussing, because each one around it will take yes, around 1 month for each component, right? 3.5. And if you see the course content for this, just a second, right? Just give me a second. If you see the course content for this, right? Yes, everything in brief. Azure Data Factory, the components overview about all these components resources, Azure Data Factory, Azure Data Factory architecture, Azure Data Factory portal UI, top level components, pipeline, activities, data sets, linker services, triggers, data flows, pipelines, creating new pipeline, organizing pipelines, debugging pipeline, publishing pipeline, linker service, data sets. What is a data set? Creating data sets for this Avro, Bandy, CSV, Excel, JSON, and activities, wait activity, creating variable, set variable, append variable, copy data, copying files, and these different types of activities, get metadata activity, lookup activity, yes, filter activity for each activity, switch activity, triggers, like schedule trigger, tumbling window, storage event, custom triggers, integration runtimes, auto integration, self-hosted, ARM templates, export and import operations, data flows, mapping data flow debug, different types of transformations, filter, aggregate, join, conditional split, derived column exist, union, lookup, sort, and validate schema drift, ADF. Nearly like 50 practical exercises we'll be discussing related to this copy activity and data flows, all these things. And coming to this Databricks requires some prerequisites. So for the prerequisites, what are the basics required? What are the prerequisites like big data, Hadoop, and Spark? The basics to big data, Hadoop, and Spark I'll be discussing before I go with the actual this Databricks. And here also Databricks introduction to this Azure, and creating Azure Databricks service using Azure CLI, adding users to the groups, creating cluster from the user interface, starting with notebooks and job Azure Databricks, and displaying cluster, starting cluster, terminating cluster, deleting cluster, cluster information, cluster access control, types of cluster, Databricks pools, cluster modes, auto scaling, multi-user clusters, Databricks utilities, data utility, credential utility, file system utility, job utility, library utility, notebook utility, secrets, widgets, limitations of utilities, Databricks integration with this data lake, Azure SQL database, Synapse, Snowflake, Databricks handling multiple file formats, CSV data, JSON data, Parquet files, XML files, right? ORC, Javro, Databricks batch processing, historical data load, incremental data load, aggregations, joins, Windows functions, Databricks streaming API, what is streaming, process of using PySpark, handling bad records, Databricks Lakehouse platform, Delta Lake, features of Delta Lake, DML operations, merge statements, type 1, type 2, data deduplication, workflows in Databricks, introduction to workflows, creating and managing Databricks jobs, and Azure Synapse in brief, right? And check these things in brief. In depth, we'll be discussing about these things. So yes, one second, I'll come back. Offerings from my side. So you'll be getting each and every session is recorded. You'll be getting the recorded session of each recorded session videos. Yes, each and every session video you'll be getting. Even if you miss any session, you can just go to that session and attend the next class for better understanding. Recorded session videos and clear soft copy of this note, soft copy of notes. Assignments and tasks to work with. A WhatsApp group where you can have direct interaction with me. Or if you got any error, you can take the snap of it and post in the WhatsApp group. Interview questions. Yes. Interactive hands-on sessions. Even the practical task everyone can do along with me parallelly. So interactive hands-on sessions, right? At any point you can ask query during the session, right? Where you will be kept in unmuted status. For performing tasks, you will be communicating, will be interacting. For every statement I type, you will be responding. What will be that result for it? And hands-on sessions you can do parallelly along with me. Yes. So tomorrow also everyone can attend the session, same timing at 6 o'clock using the same link to see more discussion on this. Yes. And about the subscription, how to get the free subscription and how you do the practicals, everything I'll be showing you step by step. All right. Yeah. Any queries from your side? You can just go ahead with the queries.
Hello.
Just okay. Just give me a second before I go with this idea. I forgot to say about this area Azure data engineering, right? Yes. So that if you observe this one, job market of Azure data engineer, right? Azure data engineering products and services. Just now I was briefing you about this data engineering products and services. So if we talk about job market of Azure data engineers, according to Microsoft, right, like lakhs of companies are registering on themselves on Azure. 95% of these Fortune 500 companies are utilizing Azure cloud services. They in turn increasing the number of job opportunities for Azure data engineers constantly. Even major companies, right, adapting to Azure, organizations shifting to Azure, they're ready on utilizing on regular needs. They are in need of professionals who can work on Azure and they can and handling huge data, that is big data. Even according to the pay scales also, right? If you talk like data engineers, they have got the highest average salary as closely as data scientist. Even if you talk like the two highest paying jobs, data scientist and data engineers, right? So that's pursuing a career in data engineer will never let you down. So these are the data engineer jobs are the emerging jobs, right? Top ranking jobs. Even there are many companies like Facebook, Intel, Microsoft, Amazon, they're interesting in hiring data engineers, right? The great salary packages. Even if you check the salary package of data engineers, especially, right, 1.5 times more than the other technologies. The same way they'll be expecting the command and that skills from you. Even like tech giants, like including Google, Apple, Cognizant, Walmart, they're offering high paying jobs for these data engineers, right? So people who want to shift and if you want to change in that career, one this data Azure data engineer is one of the best choice for them, right? And each and everything whatever we discuss as part of the class you'll be understanding. So I said like not like other training sites where last 5-10 minutes giving the interactive sessions. Total session will be interactive session only. 1 hour you'll keep in unmuted status. Any point, any query you can ask, can do that, right? Yes. See, pandas and PySpark totally different. Pandas data frames, PySpark data frames are totally different. Pandas is different. PySpark is different, right? Not same. They're not alternate. No. Satya Prakash, right? No. Pandas is one of the module. Pandas is one of the module of Python. Spark is an execution model, right? Process in-memory computation. Yes.
Hello.
Yeah, go ahead. If you got any queries, you can go with your queries now. Yes.
Yeah, so actually, you have mentioned that for learning like ADB, Azure Databricks, so there is a prerequisite, right? Like Hadoop or big data concept will be like required. So like so like while teaching like ADB, like you will be covering the like big data map reduce concept, or you will
See,
just
one thing, big data. See, whatever required as part of our, I will be discussing, right? Previously, MapReduce, there was a huge boom for MapReduce. It's totally outdated now. But what is required? Okay, I'm going to discuss about this Hadoop and Spark. Spark, anyhow, I'll be discussing in brief, in depth because it is the main execution engine in our course, right? So,
exactly.
so before that Spark, I don't know, like people, some basics of Hadoop's required, big data and Hadoop is required. That I'll be briefing you.
Okay, not in depth,
Yes,
right?
Spark will be in depth. Big data, Hadoop, everything basics I'll be providing.
Okay, so
Whatever.
that will be like enough to get
See,
started
like
with it.
one thing in other, if we compare with other trainings, 1 second, I'm coming to this. I'm coming to this. So here already it is 3.5 months, right? So here, like other training sites, they'll give overview on this Spark, but here I'm not giving overview on this Spark in brief, in depth we'll be discussing, right?
Okay,
So Spark will in brief in depth. Before that, I'll go with Spark. I'll just briefing you about this big data and Hadoop. Or
okay.
whatever required to understand this Spark, right? That knowledge I'll be.
And whatever the like concept like ADF, ADB, so you will be covering from the very basic, right? Because I'm coming from very different background.
See
So
one thing, Anish Datta, right?
Yes.
You do along with me parallelly until you get the output. We won't go to the next example.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
If you got any error, you will be sharing the screen to me. Otherwise,
Okay.
most of my 60% of that task what we do will be not on my system, in your systems. I'll be just discussing
Mm.
on your systems.
Okay. Okay.
So 60% of the tasks means any one of the student will be sharing the screen and the others will be doing parallelly. I'll be guiding the process. Means drag and drop. Everything ADF is a drag and drop. You don't need to write any code. But Databricks requires some Python code is required.
Okay.
Python basics are required. For that, I'll also provide some basics of Python.
Okay.
But I go with the practical part. It looks like normal English statements, not like other programming languages,
Hmm.
complex thing.
Um,
Python looks simple, right? All the prerequisites, whatever that will be discussed. That's why I'm saying takes around 3.5 months. It's not saying like just it is like 45 days course or 50 days course. It is because a data engineer, it's has got a great demand in the market. So we need to spend time to know each and everything, especially this Databricks and PySpark. It's main, it has weightage to that
okay.
resume.
Got it. Got it. Thank you.
Fine. So practical part, right? Everything is practical oriented and it's a hands-on. You'll be doing parallelly. Yes.
Hello, sir.
Any other queries? Yeah, go ahead with the query.
Sir, present I am learning data science. As a data science learner, which cloud is cloud technology is an advantage to me? Azure, AWS, GCP.
Databricks, see today like most, see, even we are running batches for this Azure data engineering, right? Because a lot of requirement and most of the students are asking. See, if you see, there is no course like here we are running in this DURGASOFT on AWS data engineering because even demand our students required is Azure Databricks only, Azure data engineering only, right? Yes. Even the requirement or the students requirement or even the industry requirement on this Azure data engineering is more. That's why many batches on this Azure data engineer we are running it. I'm not saying that you can also go with the data as AWS data engineering also or Google, there is a GCP also, but compared to all this, Azure is mostly preferred. And that's why batches of this will be more batches of this, right?
Okay, sir. Sir, any prerequisite for learning these tools?
So the prerequisite, like anyhow, so the basic SQL is required and basic Python knowledge is required. So for even what are the prerequisites I'll be covering as part of this. And also there is one more, so this is offerings from my side. These are the offerings from my side. And also there is one offer given by this Durgasoft for the people who join this data engineering course. So around they are providing some videos of Unix or Linux people who want to just get Unix, Linux and shell script, right? With shells, that is shell scripting like of Mr. Durga. Around 150 videos of him will be given freely. Will be provided freely 150 videos of this Linux, Unix or Linux shell scripting, and also people who doesn't have knowledge on this SQL or this MySQL, right? Around some 35 videos also they are provided freely along with these people who join for this. Can avail this offer also. This 5,000 worth videos of this Unix and Linux, total 150 videos, and this MySQL around 35 videos. Both will be provided access once you get enrolled, right? This worth of 5,000 rupees you'll be getting free. And even Python related stuff I'll be discussing. And also, if you want, I can provide you some basic videos of Python also, right? Okay.
Yeah, sir. If you can tell that what are the important topics that we can cover on MySQL and Python, so it will be like better
The
for.
basic table creation, data and CRUD operation, creating, reading, updating, and deleting. How to create a table, how to insert a data, how to modify, update, delete. These things are enough.
And okay, and what about like window function, left join, right join?
That everything I'll be discussing, right? Because we have got separate methods available where Spark is providing functions.
Okay.
functions. Left outer join, like methods are there.
Okay.
Join method is there to perform inner join. Left
Okay.
outer to left outer join, right outer, like functions methods are there, directly will perform it. No need to write codes.
Okay. 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 That will be
Data
covered by, yeah,
uh,
PySpark only.
in PySpark data frames concept, data frame provides many API functions are there that I'll be discussing one by one with many working examples.
Okay. Got it. Thank you.
Okay. You can see a big message is given by this online team. Can you check it here? The course content details, their contact details, the payment details, uh, account details, and this. Oh, okay, you can just check it. And tomorrow also everyone can attend the session, same time at 6 o'clock, using the same link to see more discussion, right? Yes.
Uh,
Yeah, Neeraj, you got any query? Yes, please unmute and let's go with your query. Yes. Neeraj, are you asking any query? You are,
Hello. Yes. Yes.
yeah.
Sorry. Yeah, I was on mute. Yeah. Okay. So my question is, the Synapse and Databricks, are they both means competitor to each other in terms of processing the data and performing all sort of activities?
See, one thing in both that in the backend, PySpark is the main execution engine.
Okay.
In Azure Synapse and Azure Databricks also, what is the main execution engine is Spark. Spark is the main
Okay.
thing, but Synapse is the single stop solution for all this. Synapse is the one second. Just go into mute. I'll just answer your query. I'm getting background noise from you. Okay. See, Azure Databricks and Synapse, right? Okay, Azure Databricks in both uses Spark only, but Synapse is a single stop solution where you can see all that, like notebooks. We talk about that pipelines, notebooks, everything at a single place. But Azure Synapse is little, it's not little, it's more costlier than this Databricks. So if it's not, cost is not a matter, and if you want the speed is the matter, Synapse like everything like, but both uses Spark only. But how to use the tool and how to work with this. So even in the industry, they're expecting people, if you see the job description, they want ADF, Databricks, Synapse, they'll be providing. Or even there are some companies who are only asking for ADF or only like Databricks developer, right? Once you want to step into the company, you will go. But especially these things are mostly required these days, right? Databricks and PySpark mostly required, right? And Synapse Analytics understanding will be easier once you know this, right?
Yeah. Thank you.
Fine. Okay. Any other queries, right? So it was a demonstration. I was speaking most of the time during this, right? But normal sessions, totally from the start of the session, immediately, if any query, immediately you can ask, no need to wait up to the end of the session. So, fine. So if I'm done with the query, some query was asked in the chat. Okay, you can type in the chat or you can ask through voice. So,
Hello.
yes, yes.
Yeah. So if you have like, if I'm having any doubts, so can I contact, or like, is there any group so that I can contact you?
Yes, yes. See, one thing, for my batches, whatever, for my courses, whatever I discuss, I'll create a group. There is no group created from DurgaSoft. I am creating a separate WhatsApp group to have direct interaction with the students. Can you see it here? A WhatsApp
Yeah.
group there where you can directly interact, or if you get any error, you can take the snap of that and post that error in the group, that pick in the group. Anybody can answer, I'll be answering it. Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, fine. Yes, Sai, right? Yes. Previously, I worked as for development firm. That was a career gap till now. Azure data engineering, see one thing compulsory is with being regular to the sessions, either during the sessions, doing it parallelly. What I suggest everyone is during the sessions, I suggest everyone to do that practicals along with me parallelly, so that you'll understand much better instead of watching the sessions, do just doing the practicals during the sessions, look, right? faster. You won't get any errors when we are going with the flow. Everything you will try to understand. It's a data flow. The output of one will be the input to the next thing, right? And interacting in the sessions, doing hands-on practice, and getting command on this course definitely fetch you a job for you. You need to be very much serious. That to 3.5 to 4 years. Sorry, 3.5 to 4 months. Compulsory strictly. If you work hard, definitely you can get. It's a commanding. This what I can say. It's a commanding course. Azure data engineer, right? I said even the salary packages are high. Yes. Fine.
Okay, sir. That career gap will affect the job, sir. That career gap I have taken the approximate 1.5 years, sir.
So for those things, I'll just say something right at the end of. Otherwise, you can just personally message me, or you
Okay,
can
sir.
do how you can do what you can do those things.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay, fine. Okay, if I'm done with the queries, if there are no other queries, I'm signing off for now. Meet you tomorrow same time at 6 o'clock using the same link to see more discussion. Thank you all. Good night.
Thank you. Good night.